Been a pattern for the last 2 years or so. Once these girls they say my fiance, it's a wrap on anything that the dude does is stupid, any kind of abuse, any kind of...
Sorry, I forgot to unmute my mic. As I was saying, it's time for another one of these crazy relationship advice audio columns where people send in their letters in advance. Then they're emailed to me, and I print them out in this lovely document right here that my cousin puts together. And then I read the questions out loud, and then I give my crazy off-the-cuff comment about it. Those of you who have access to the YouTube chat are welcome to, add your comments by making them, in the chat stream. If you have something to say about it, you disagree with my advice, of course, you can always do that too. If you want to make a super chat donation, we always accept those. And also, let me put this up here too. If you want to submit a question, there's a QR code right there on the screen. So you just scan it with your phone. It'll take you right to the advice submission form. And you just fill it out and press submit. And then your question might get on another show, upcoming show. So let's get started. We have 25 questions as usual. Question number 1, this young man is in the 22 to 27 age group out of Chicago, Illinois. Summary issue. Am I wrong for trying to lock myself away so my family can leave me the fuck alone? Deb, my big sister recently had a baby. He's still an infant. I love him, and I help my sister all the time when her husband doesn't want to. We live close to upstairs unit in the same building, so I'm right there most of the time if she needs me time. But over time, I'm wondering why the fuck they even had a baby because the husband never wants to watch the kid. For shit, sister needs to go to the grocery store. He's moaning and groaning about having to watch the kid for 2 hours. That's where I tend to come in. I used to watch that baby and hang out with her for at least 2 hours a day to let my sister have some time. But I work such long shift hours that sometimes I need to sleep in. I get off at 5 a.m. sometimes, and she knows this. We work the same damn shift. So why are you calling me at 10 in the morning to come down and watch the kid, and then you get upset if I'm trying to sleep? This is how it goes. I'll go to bed at 5 a.m. Phone rings at 10 a.m. I ignore it. Phone rings again. Yo, what the fuck? Don't you have another sister? I answer it. What's up? Sister, come watch your nephew. I'm trying to sleep. Wow. Sister, I have to use the bathroom or some other thing that she has to do to start her day while her husband sleeps. I feel bad and go down to help. I do love that baby and my sister. I go up and then I go back to bed and fall asleep again. An hour passes. Phone rings again. She's group calling both of her sisters, even though I'm definitely trying to sleep. It cuts through do not disturb too. The other sister has a 20% chance of actually answering the phone, even though we all live in the same building. Guess what? Next call is going to be just for me this time. She asks what I do. I'm like, I'm trying to sleep. She says, oh, you're always tired. You're one of those people that always need to sleep. In my head, I was like, yeah, that's why I don't have a kid. But this is her routine. I become burnt out and stop answering calls so much. But then she shows up at my door, literally standing there with the kid till I notice her. I love her and I don't want to say leave me alone, but now I'm at the point where I'm locking my room door and ignoring everyone. I feel like I need to sleep 24 hours before I go back there. And like a baby, I feel like I'll scream and cry if I don't get the fuck to bed. What do? You need to establish some boundaries. You say, I'll watch the kid between this hour and this hour after I get some sleep. Don't wake me up. Leave me alone. But you haven't done that. You haven't told her no. You haven't put any parameters around when you're helping. The main thing is she got a whole husband sitting there. So why can't he do it? And she wants to, if she's having problems like doing stuff like going to the bathroom, whatever, they have those baby pouch things that you carry the baby on the front or they can put them on their back. I don't care what you do. But, it keeps the kid close to the mother. They shut up and then your hands are free. You can do whatever you want to do with them. That's another, compromise that she can do, especially as the baby's still an infant. That's what I used to have to do with my daughter because she had, what they used to call it, colic. So when I get home from work, oh my God, it was like hell. She would just cry and fuss and fuss. And so I got it used at I think like at a garage sale, sidewalk sale or something like that. And you put it on, it was like made out of corduroy. Old fashioned, it wasn't fancy, but it was still usable, still looked good, didn't have any holes in it or anything. And so I would stuff her little butt in that. And then she would, it was like a kangaroo pouch. And she would be right against my chest so she could hear my heartbeat, calmed her right down. So then the evenings became like, tolerable. So I highly recommend those if the baby's fussy. But if she's just looking for other people to be watching the baby and hold the baby all the time, the baby can lay down by itself. Baby can cry for a few minutes. It's not going to kill it. Just where she goes to the bathroom and stuff. All y'all need to do better. This doesn't really make any sense. Let's move on. Question number 2. This young man's 18 to 21. He's out of Newark, New Jersey. Summer issue. I badly disrespected my girlfriend and I think I forever ruined our love. Well, if she got any kind of self-esteem, you most likely did. We're both 18. I got into an argument with my girlfriend because of my own insecurities. She was texting a male friend late at night and ran into him when she was out with her female friend, which she didn't tell me about. She has hidden things like talking to her ex before and things of this nature. So naturally, I felt really angry because she never mentioned any of this and only brought it up after I saw it on her phone. And she conveniently had to go right before I was going to check her recently deleted messages. For the record, I have had bad anger issues related to trauma that I've been trying to work on. And in the past, I have been really disrespectful, cursing at her, and doing things of that nature, which usually ends up with both of us apologizing. This time I lost my temper again and I said harsh things with her cousins in the room and they stepped in for her. Now her mom, cousin, uncles, and aunts are telling her to break up with me. I sent her a giant letter, written from the heart, and she's giving me one last chance. But the energy has been different because she doesn't fully forgive me and I understand why, but she doesn't even want to be in my presence. She doesn't speak with love anymore and it hurts, honestly, because she has messed up more times than I could count. But I always forgave her because I love her, but I mess up and suddenly the whole relationship is on the line. Yes, motherfucker, that's how it goes. You cussing and fucking you folks and stuff. You did this numerous times, as you say. So don't try to act like you just did it for this one time and this is your only mistake. And you had witnesses. See, that's where you really fucked up. You did it in front of her family. So it's like magnified by 10. You're not getting away with this one. You just an idiot. She begged me before to stay and now the table's turned and I am desperate. My friends have been telling me to break up with her, but I can't bring myself to leave because I love her. We aren't exactly the healthiest couple because ever since the situation with her ex, I never really trusted her the same and I always go through her phone, but she embraced it and asked me to. We acknowledge that we are toxic and codependent, but we kind of loved it about each other. But since she's easily influenced by others, she's in an echo chamber that paints me out to be this horrible guy when all I want to do is change and be better. But it's hard when she pushes me to these points. No, you push yourself. You a grown-ass man. And you have every excuse in the world why you want to act stupid. And it's everybody else's fault but yours. Somebody pushed you to that point. Nobody can push you to do anything. You push yourself. Ooh, she needs to break up with you. I forgot to mention, but during the situation, she tried to manipulate me and turn it on me, telling me to give up my phone like I was the one who did something wrong or gave her a reason to think I was cheating. For the record, I never hid anything or did anything of that nature that would make her suspect me of cheating. even at this point, I know I'm not completely wrong because it was incredibly suspicious. I'm not asking for validation on who's wrong and who's right. I just really miss my baby and I want to fix it. No, you don't. You want to fix things. No, you don't. Because if you wanted to fix things, you keep saying you trying and all. You're not. What are you doing though? Did you go to therapy? Did you get yourself in a shrink's office? Are you doing the count to 10 method before you start mouthing off, cussing people out and calling them all kind of stupid names? See, that's the kind of, you would have got to call me out my name exactly one time. And we would have been through that second. That would have been it. So, the fact that she stuck around shows that she's used to, some rather unsavory treatment at the hands of men. Most likely she, noticed that or observed it or witnessed it, whatever the word is I'm trying to say, amongst her family members when she was growing up. That's usually how, kids get exposed to this kind of stuff. And then they, so it's normalized for them. It's not quite as earth-shattering, and it doesn't have quite the negative connotations as it would for someone who didn't grow up that way. So, you admit that that's how you act. You curse at her and do all kind of disrespectful things, and then she stayed. Then you want to turn around and say, "Yeah, but she did it too," which is not a sign of manhood. That's little bitch comments. When you try to blame, you don't compare yourself to anybody else. We're talking about you right now. So let's stay on the subject. So all in all, I am not in your corner at all. You are on some bullshit, and her family definitely needs to get her to break up with you because you don't know how to act. You're not too immature for a relationship. At least one with her. Question number 3. This young lady's 18 to 21 out of Lexington, Kentucky. Same issue. Does my boyfriend's older sister have some kind of weird jealousy of him? Me and my boyfriend, we're 20 and 21 respectively, have been together for almost 2 years, and it's going well, but I started to notice a weird jealousy about 6 months ago or so. Me and his older sister, she's 24. So you're 20, the boyfriend's 21, the sister's 24, I see. Hadn't really interacted much until recently because I live somewhere else, and so did she for a bit. We only been interacting when I was going to be at his a bit more. I know she doesn't have many friends and has a kind of weird on and off boyfriend. So her and my boyfriend are close, which is fine. Often when we're together, he's constantly messaging her, but when he's with her, there's basically nothing. One time I was there, my boyfriend had just gotten a Switch too, so we were playing Mario Kart, and she walked past and made a comment about how he hasn't played it with her yet. Okay. Okay. He's all right. A couple of weeks later, we went to a concert, which was me, him, her, and her boyfriend. Originally, it was just me and my boyfriend and her, but she brought her boyfriend, which seemed like it made sense. Her boyfriend made a comment that it was selfish of him to invite me, as this was a band that her and my boyfriend were into. But I also liked this band. Sister and her boyfriend ended up standing far away from us, which I found odd. No, they need to be far away from you. A couple of months later, my boyfriend said he had booked tickets to a comedy show with one of his friends, but later told me it was actually him, his friend, the friend's girlfriend, and his sister. I found this odd because I like the comedian. I know the friends quite well. Recently, I stayed at his house for a week, and she was there, and he told me to be nice to her. She told me that their mother, that I was making her uncomfortable by having the door closed while working from home. Me and her ended up kind of getting along after that. I do try and make the effort, but it seems like she really isn't bothered. Okay, so then, then her and her boyfriend went on a heritage train journey. I'm really into transport. It was super cute. And then he booked tickets for him and his sister to go because she was upset that he didn't invite her. Not sure if this is strange, but it kind of upset me because to me, that was a nice date for us. And now he's taking his sister. There have been other instances I found weird. Like I got him a pair of shorts. He asked me to get them. And I said they were nice, but he wanted to see what she would think, which is the same for everything he buys. I will admit here, I think I feel a bit jealous, but I try and be normal about it. I brought it up before and a couple of times that I feel like me and her are fighting for his attention, and I find it odd. But he kind of brushed it off, saying that she's just like that and there's no solution. But now I'm not too sure what to do. I think I'm also part of the issue, but it's really hard to be chill when I'm aware that she just isn't a fan of me. Well, she's very territorial over him for some reason. But see, this is where you would have to come in and you not saying nothing. Now, let me tell you how this would go if it was me. We're playing Mario Kart, and she comes in and says, well, you haven't played with me yet. Says, it's really odd for somebody's sister to be trying to compete with his girlfriend for his attention. Is that what you're trying to do? That's what it sure sounds like to me. And then, of course, she would walk away or she would stand there and deny it. It was like, well, like I said, it sure sounds like that to me. You're trying to compare what I do with him to what he does with you. We're not the same. You're a sister. I'm the woman that he's fucking. So, we ain't on a par. You just need to understand that. And you think I wouldn't say that? I've said worse than that to people's mothers. Because, some bitches just need to be clear about what their role is. And they be getting all out of pocket and confused. So I have to, I just feel like I need to put them back in their envelope. So I definitely would say something like that to her. Would she run and tell the mother? Most likely. And guess what? I wouldn't care. So the mother said anything. I said, but what did I say was wrong, though? She's trying to compete with me over my man. This is somebody I sleep with. He sleeps with me. We love each other. I'm sure he loves her as his sister, but she'll never be on the same level as me and never have his body or heart the way that I do. So she needs to just stop. This is just ridiculous. So see, until you woman up and check her like something like that, this is going to continue because ain't nobody saying nothing. He's not saying nothing. He just doesn't really seem to have a problem with it because probably he's used to it after all these years. And the mother's not going to say anything because it doesn't really involve her. So the only one who's being targeted here is you. And you're not saying nothing. You're just taking it like a little bitch. So you better stand up for yourself, girl. Stop this. You don't be taking this kind of nonsense from these heifers. You shut that shit down. Question number 4. Ooh, she's irritating, the sister. She's 22 to 27. She's Latina from Miami, Florida. Summer issue. My boyfriend is useless around the house, and it's making me want to end the relationship. Me and my boyfriend have been together for about 5 years. We've been living together for 2. At first, I was really excited for us to have our own place and build a life together. But as time has passed, I've been feeling more and more unhappy. The problem is that my boyfriend does absolutely nothing to help around the house. And I am not exaggerating. I do all the cooking and the cleaning. He has not touched a single dish since we moved in together. Maybe he thinks the dishes fairy collects them every night. I don't know. I do all the laundry and I even fold it for him, yet he still can't be bothered to put his clothes away in the wardrobe. When I let the laundry pile up and he has nothing to wear, he comes to me asking me to do it instead of literally just shoving them in the washing machine himself. Last week, he asked me to make him a salad and I refused, saying he could do it himself. He said he doesn't know how. It's literally just chopping vegetables. He is completely unwilling to learn when I offer to teach him how to cook or do basic chores. Furthermore, he doesn't fix things around the house unless I ask him multiple times. And even then, I just end up doing it myself out of frustration. We have had many conversations about this, but he always just gets upset and pouts. He once agreed to help when I was really upset, but he demanded a strict schedule of when to do certain things. I told him he could just do the laundry when there are enough dirty clothes for a load and have allocated days for vacuuming. Well, that didn't last long. I always have to ask him to take out the trash, which apparently doesn't fall in his line of vision. He ignores it every time. The problem is he doesn't seem to find the mess. He tells me that he isn't forcing me to clean and that I should just leave it, but we would be living in filth if I did. Deb, this is really getting to me. I've been unemployed for a couple of months. I was fine with taking on most of the housework when I had more free time, but I'm starting to feel like an unpaid maid and chef. He does not support me financially. We have split every single bill down the middle since the beginning of the relationship, even now while I'm unemployed. He was the exact same way when I was working. So I know this isn't a matter of me having extra time right now. I'm starting to think he acts this way because of his mama. She is a really nice lady, but she babied him too much. So he never had to learn how to take care of himself. He went straight from living with her to living with me. I know this is weaponized incompetence. Still, I'm willing to give him one last chance to fix his behavior because I can see. What do you see that I don't see? What do you think? Is there hope? Nope. This is a grown-ass man and he is what he is. What he's going to do is, it's not going to be you, but he'll find somebody who wants to take care of him like she's his mama, and then he'll be happy and she'll be happy too. That's not you, though. Now, you might love this man in some, vague romantic sense, but I'm not understanding how you can love somebody that doesn't respect you. And, he lives there just like you. What's up, Shay? I just switched over to the chat so I could see everybody. Yeah, but these people, they get together like in high school and stuff, or just out of high school. They be staying in the same relationships forever. I don't know what to tell you, but you keep saying, you said we've had many conversations about it, but nothing changes. At some point, you have to accept that this is what you got, and either it's good enough as it is, and you just shut up and deal with it, or it's not good enough, and then you send him back to his mother, and you just live by yourself, or get a female roommate, or whatever you want to do. But this is the kind of stuff that really separates a couple, because you're keeping up your end of the bargain and splitting bills 50-50. He's just like a roommate anyway, but he's not keeping up his half of the maintenance of the household. And that's what you need to tell him. It's like, we live like roommates, except we sleep together. But other than that, with this 50-50 stuff, it's not like you taking care of me, and my contribution for the financial part is that I'm doing the housework. I'm doing the housework and contributing half too, and that's too much. So I want you to look into moving back into with your mother. I'm going to get myself a different situation with a roommate so I can save some money and do whatever it is you want to do. That's what you need to tell him. And send his ass packing. Send him right on back over there with his mama. Ooh, I don't know how you can stand it. That wouldn't work for me. Question number 5. This guy's 28 to 34. He's white European from London, England. What's up, Mary Elizabeth? Summer issue. My wife constantly cries and is making me feel drained emotionally. Any advice? Oh my God, I hate them crybaby bitches. I'm 32 and I know this is going to sound like I'm seeking advice because I genuinely feel drained. My wife is constantly crying. She's 35. So he's younger, 32, and she's 35. It can be other small things, big things, but she cries quite a bit. At first, I sort of dealt with it and comforted her. But there was a period of time when I was extremely depressed. We were in a low point in our life, basically starting from scratch. I had to work a labor-intensive job just for us to get by, and she refused to work. She lounged at home, didn't even ask how I was. When I said I was low, she just complained about a lack of nook, to which I had to apologize for being depressed and exhausted. And I noticed she was not there for me. In fact, I noticed that it was a pattern. So why are you still married to her? Oh, okay. Every time I'm needed to lean on her and get support, it's just not there. I can't discuss feelings because the moment I do, I get shut down. Even when I ask if she has the emotional bandwidth for me to discuss. Or she will say things like, well, we are enmeshed. I'm not responsible for your emotions. I need X amount of space now. There's defensive mode. I need more space. Questions my masculinity, etc. Oh, wow. Are you still there? So generally, I don't share my feelings or where I am at anymore. It's the opposite for her. She says she feels so supported, and hence why every day she will offload and cry and comfort her. But I've started feeling quite resentful and just drained. There's never a day without it. It will range from deep crying about rehashing conversations with strangers. It could be jealousy surrounding someone. Oh my God. Watching a TikTok and crying if someone has something or does something that she would like to do. Crying about self-image to trauma. It can be anything really. But I have to help her regulate quite often, nearly daily, and reassure her, no, you don't. You just choose to do that dumb shit. It can go as far as her asking me something about myself or what I like, and within minutes, I'm comforting her and she's crying and confused as to how we have gotten there. It came to a point I had to say, please don't ask me something like just as a gateway to speak about yourself, because it feels like my answer doesn't matter. Sometimes I can't even get an answer out because she'll start crying. It could be like, do you like playing tennis? Then I wish I could, crying. Wow. And I get there's times it's the overthinking, or she gets an obsessive thought she cannot shake, and then that leads to crying. But there's also the element of her being quite snappy as well, saying and doing things that I would never be able to speak to her in that manner. It can be hard when I'm going through something and I'm having to comfort someone over and over and over with no day's break. I feel a bit bad for it starting to get to me, to be honest. Like, I know she needs a safe place, but I just feel drained, and I don't quite know how to deal with it, as I don't want her to feel like she has no safe place. Understand some people are just criers. Well, let me tell you something that we talk about a lot. Black women talk about this a lot, and that is white women and their tears. Them is the cryingest women in the planet. Y'all ladies, I'm sorry. I never seen a group of women who want to cry as much as white girls do. At least they're here in the United States. I don't know what's be going on in the rest of the world. Cry about every goddamn thing. Just cry, cry, cry. Now, when I see that, because you see them at work. You say, no, it's something like they do some fucked up shit right, and then somebody checks them. The first thing they want to do is turn on the waterworks. And I just be looking at them because, when I was young and I didn't really know that was, a thing. And then, of course, as you get older and you go through, I've worked like all over the country and in other countries and everything. So, you get to see stuff as you mature and go, you live life, you get life experience. You get to see trends. And that is a definite trend. It's a cultural one. It is. Black women don't be doing that shit. We will more likely punch you or slap the shit out of you or cuss you out. We're not going to be sitting there crying. So it was just something I thought was really interesting. So, you go through these situations, stuff be happening, and they start to turn into crying. I'm like, just stop crying, because that's not going to help you. That's not going to get you out of the situation. It's not going to make it any better for you. It's probably going to make it worse, because I don't have the patience for that kind of stuff. So when you tell them that it's not going to work, then they don't do it anymore. So they do it because it works. They do it because as they've grown up, like turning on them tears, it gets the desired result from people, which is that they get their way. And that's what she does to you, and you just fall for it. You sit up there, I comfort her. You should just get up and walk out the room. Say, when you stop crying like a goddamn diaper-wearing baby, then we can have a conversation. Until then, I'm not talking to you. That's how you should treat her. So you just cry like a little bitch all the time. Wham, wham, wham. It's like, oh my God, I need to have a wife that's an adult. That's somebody's gonna be crying all the time like she's 2. This is ridiculous. So you should say stuff like that to her to show her that, it ain't working no more. And you're not gonna be party to it. And if she wants to do something, she needs to get off her ass and make it happen and stop crying about it. Oh, I don't know how you stand it. I'm just saying, it's just what I noticed. I can't talk about nobody else. But I can tell you what I've seen with my 2 eyes and what has been happening in the life that I have lived, and that's what I have seen. Okay? And it started when I was a kid, like in Girl Scouts, because that's what I had a couple of white people in the schools I went to, but, I mainly went to school in the hoods in San Francisco. So it was, Asian. You had some Asians, some Europeans, Latin, Spanish folks, Spanish speakers, Black folks. Yeah, I mean, it was a good little mix, but not that many white people, mostly people of color, just, sprinkled in some Caucasians. So it wasn't until I got to high school, really, that and then when I went away to Texas, of course, there was full of them there. But, I didn't really have that much interaction with them until I was like middle school age. And, yeah, that's what I noticed. The tear, just crying all the time. So what the fuck is this? What you crying for? Nobody even hit you. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we call it. So, I mean, I know those of you who are listening who never heard that phrase before, you just learned something. But yeah, just like crying all the goddamn time. I just can't take it. It makes me, and for someone like me, those tears are crying because they want empathy and they want sympathy and they want to be patted up and coddled and to get their way. People like me, when I see people crying like that, it makes me get evil. I feel myself squinting my eyes and thinking about what I can do to fuck them up more and make their tears real now. You're going to be really crying fucking with me with them fake ass tears. So that's how I think, and that's what I do. I just like figure out what kind of way I'm gonna get them, and just like squeeze them and poke them and prod them to some real tears, so they really be fucked up. But you sit up there playing them pretend tears. Don't give me a reason. Don't do that. So that's how I've been in my work history. They don't really work with me, them tear things. Ugh. Question number 6. Let's move on from that. Female, she's 28 to 34. She's African American from Durham, North Carolina. Some issue. As a woman, yeah, they always be wrong. That's why they start crying, because they want to get their way. They don't want you to be like, really hit them with the hammer. They want to try to, get you to just stop doing that and instead exert your energy into making them feel better. I'm like, oh, that ain't working. So let me rip you. I'm going to tell you about yourself real bad now. Before I was going to do it politely, but now I'm not. And now I'm just going to rip off the kid gloves and just give it to you straight up, because you already crying. Just may as well cry some more. That's how I feel about it. So let's see. She's 28 to 34. She's African American from Durham, North Carolina. Some issue. As a woman, I feel scared of dating men. I'm 30. I've never been in a relationship, and I've never even been on a date. Growing up, I was afraid of men due to my abusive father. I've always had low self-esteem and have been insecure about my looks. I was too afraid to talk to boys in high school, even when I had a crush. But reading romantic novels as a teen made me believe I would get my happy ending and end up with a good guy. But since my mid-20s, I've noticed the number of crimes against women have been increasing. Yep. Women are victims of cheating, assault, domestic violence, and they're unalived. I can't say the actual word because, you're right, it gets starred out. And in most cases, the culprit is always a partner or an ex. That's exactly true. I just posted something on the community wall on YouTube about that. Some statistics from the CDC about women and domestic, it's like the number one cause of death in women. You think it would be cancer or something like that? Nope. It's boyfriends and husbands. So, or, ex-boyfriends and ex-husbands. Somewhere in that mix is men that they had or either in an intimate relationship with or had an intimate relationship with. It's the number one threat to women's life. 48%, I believe it said, of women are murdered by an intimate partner of some sort. So your fear is grounded in reality. So it's not like, some fantasy kind of thing. It's a very real threat to women's life to be in a relationship with a man, to go on a date with a man. You basically take your life in your hands. You never know what kind of nut job you're dealing with. She says, I personally know a lot of women who have been a victim of at least one of those. It just seems very common. A lot of women end up marrying the wrong person and then suffer even after divorce, especially when kids are involved. Yep, one of their favorite things to do is use the kid, threaten you with the kids, or they want to unalive the kids in front of you. That's a favorite of abusive men. They want the kids to see them unalive you, or they want to see you. They want you to watch them unalive the kids. It's one of those things. They want to torture the women in some respect, or torture the kids. I'm afraid of dating the wrong guy. I'm scared of having kids with the wrong person. The scariest thing of all is not knowing whether you married the right person until it's too late. So, and with all the misogynistic red pill content online, a lot of men have expressed their hatred for women. It's just very scary. I have PTSD because of my dad. I don't want to experience any more trauma at the hands of another man. Well, they do. Travel one, just like, Oh, honey Lamore, that's just terrible. It's very frightening because, and it's even happened, a lot to teenage girls. They had these little crazy boyfriends. The boys are like 16, 17, 15 years old. And they already have this mentality of ownership of the girls. And like, if the girls don't want to be with them for any reason, whether they dated or not, the girl might, not be too young to date. And her parents told her, you can't date yet or something. For whatever reason, she turned the guy down. And they just go crazy and just want to unalive the little girl. I don't know. It's just really something. So, for you, I don't know how you feel about dating the same sex, but that's your other option. It's not like you have to spend your life alone, but you definitely, some of these, they be tripping and being abusive too. So I can't even say that's an escape, but, I keep hearing about women who were in relationships with men and then they got in a relationship with a woman and they seem to be happy, like Niecy Dash. You remember Niecy Dash? She left her husband and she married a woman and every time you see her, she's showing 92 teeth. And they got married. They had like a big wedding and the whole thing. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but that's one of the things. Yeah, we did have a healthy, it wasn't, yeah, I guess it was healthy because even when we had conflicts, we negotiated them well. But that's the key, not that you don't have arguments, but that you show each other respect in your disagreements and that you arrive at some results and some conclusion that eliminates the problem. That's the key thing. So that shows you have good communication. So yeah, people say, well, we never fight. I'm like, that's not realistic. That's a problem. But it's how you fight and what you do about the fight that counts. So, I'm not going to say that you're wrong or bad for feeling this way. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to say that because statistics shore up your feelings and validate them as being a very real concern for millions of women worldwide. So I don't really know what to tell you other than, like I said, it's not like, men are the only things you could date. Or even if you don't want to have a romantic relationship with a woman, at least have some female friends that you can hang out with and, go places with. And it don't have to be, like I said, don't have to be a romantic thing. But, just have that kind of companionship, people to talk to, socialize with and stuff like that. So think about that. I mean, you might already have that you don't really say, but that would be another suggestion because I know when I was, had a lot of friends and stuff, I didn't really miss not having a boyfriend. Because I was always ripping and running people at the house. I'm at their house. We were doing things that we like to do and going places we like to go. And so I didn't really miss that. It wasn't like a focus for me. So that's something to, think about, investigate. You go trips with them and all kind of stuff with your friends. Question number 7. This young lady's 22 to 27 out of Aurora, Colorado. Summary of the issue. Everyone is begging me to be alone. Deb, I've been a serial dater since I was 18. I'm 23 now. And I haven't really been alone since I was maybe 16. Relationships have become my default position, and I recognize that I have a severe addiction to people. My longest relationships were at 14 and 18, and I mostly cheated in both because of insecurity, fear of abandonment, and boredom. Neither partner deserved that. At 14, you shouldn't be dating. After years of short-lived relationships and situationships, one ex told me that being with me felt like opting into a lifelong battle. End quote. That sentence has stayed with me forever. I'm only a month out of a residential treatment and currently in PHP, I don't know what that is, and sober living. I'm finally on medication that helps, but I'm still dating someone. I genuinely like her, and she's patient, kind, and accepting of where I am in recovery. At the same time, I constantly fear that she'll leave. Check my phone for reassurance and struggle to tolerate uncertainty. When she told me that she wasn't ready to be exclusive yet, I realized I don't really understand how healthy relationships are built over time. Everyone in my life is encouraging me to stop centering my life around relationships and focus on recovery, hobbies, and building an identity outside of being someone's partner. They're telling me I have a severe codependent tendencies and I need to learn how to be alone. The difficult part is that I don't consciously feel like I'm chasing relationships. They just seem to happen. I'm usually laid back in the beginning, but once I develop feelings, my world starts revolving around the other person. The biggest realization I've had is this: relationships and nook are always close, while my goals, dreams, and career feel incredibly far away. I know I use people to fill a void, but I still desperately want to be someone's girlfriend. I also know I could read about attachment and codependency, but part of me doesn't want to because the emotional dysregulation is all I've ever known. On top of that, I struggle with the lesbian scarcity mindset, which makes every connection feel like it could be my only chance. I don't want to end the talking stage I'm in. The only reason I would is if my mental health issues become an issue for her life. More than anything, I'm trying to become healthier so that no one ever feels like loving me means signing up for a lifelong battle again. Well, I think, you have some good insight into what's going on with yourself. However, you seem to still be resistant to actually taking the step to make it happen. You know, there's nothing better for a relationship than open communication. You like this lady. So, I mean, why can't you just tell? You say she's patient and kind and accepting of where you are in recovery, but you fear that she'll leave and all this kind of stuff. But I mean, think about where you are in recovery. Do you really have anything to offer her? Let's be honest here. All your energy needs to be going towards yourself right now. It's like people that don't have a job, right? They don't have no money, they have no job, and they want to write talking about, oh, I want to date somebody. I'm lonely. I want a girlfriend. I want a boyfriend. No, what you want is a job. That's what you want. You want some money. That's flip that around. Let's focus on what the priority should be, which is not you getting your swerve on, is you getting some money in your wallet. That's your priority right now. So, sometimes people tend to get caught. I mean, you get caught up in stuff and your attention wanders. You start focusing on, look at that chart, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And you'll see that you're skipping around here. Your emotional needs for romance and stuff are way lower than your emotional needs for mental stability. That's where you should be concentrating. So you can find those charts right on the internet anywhere. Just look at that and figure out where you should be concentrating, because the bottom is the biggest one. That's what you need. You need to do those in order. And right now, you just got out of a residential treatment, and I mean, you got so much on your plate, so much on your plate. So, living alone, paying bills and all that kind of stuff, you got to get yourself reestablished and stable. The last thing you should be doing is trying to have yourself involved in a relationship where you have to divert your attention from yourself and your healing to paying attention to somebody else and their problems. That's not where you should be. So all the people telling you to concentrate on yourself are 150% correct. You need to stop this. Get your shit together, chick. Stop trying to distract yourself from your problems with a relationship. That's really what's going on here. You haven't really focused on yourself since you were 14 years old. You probably don't even know who you are. Know who you are and what you really want out of life. How could you when you just bounce from person to person, person to person? Just monkey branching from one relationship to the next. You're constantly bending and folding and changing yourself to meet someone else's expectations, never your own. So I think, you need to reconsider this seriously. Question number 8. This is a female in the 18 to 21 age group. She's a Caucasian European, a Gemini. Oh, somebody actually put the sign this time. From St. Paul, Minnesota. Summary of issue. My mom keeps acting weird around my boyfriend. How do I handle this? I feel like I'm going a bit crazy in this situation. I need some advice. For context, my mom, she's about 50, has a habit of telling unnecessary white lies and exaggerating things. Lately, this has been happening a lot in front of my boyfriend. He's 23 and I'm 21, in case you want to know. And it feels like she's trying to make me look bad or like I'm the unreasonable one. A recent example, my boyfriend came over for lunch and I had planned to cook for us. I prefer low effort, low pressure time with him, but whenever he's around, my mom insists on going all out, ordering food or making us go to restaurants even when we don't ask for it. So she's inviting herself on your date or she's sending you to, this part's not clear. That day, she insisted on ordering food. My boyfriend eats a lot, so she ordered him a dish that cost about $25. We did not ask her to do this. When the food arrived, she started complaining that the portion was too small and claimed that the app said it was meant to feed 4 people. I checked the app and that was completely false. It was a normal portion for 1 to 2 people. When I pointed that out, she changed her argument and started saying it looked nothing like the pictures, showing them to my boyfriend and trying to get him to agree. He was clearly uncomfortable and kind of sided with her, which I don't blame him for. She put him in a really awkward position. Then she started complaining about how expensive it was. I didn't want my boyfriend to feel guilty, so I tried to shut the conversation down. Later, she texted me saying that was the last time she would ever come over. She said nothing that she ever does is good enough for me and that she's done being my doormat. She then called me stupid, selfish, and disgusting. Wow, your mother? And said she has spent hundreds on us, which is true, but I never asked her to. She's the one who insists on paying and going out. She also started praising my boyfriend while insulting me and even said he was going to break up with me. At that point, I snapped and told her to get her own boyfriend to compliment and leave mine alone, and to get her own man to agree with everything she says. I know that wasn't the best response, but I was really fed up. Oh, it was the best response. That was absolutely what you should have said. She struggles to maintain relationships and often complains about being lonely. Some of her comments have made me uncomfortable. For example, she once told one of her exes that he would never be half the man my boyfriend is. Wow. Another time, she randomly told me that if my boyfriend ever broke up with me, I would be so devastated, and kept insisting on that, even when I said I'd be fine. In a past relationship, she accused her boyfriend of liking me more than he liked her. She also criticizes me in front of my boyfriend, for example, calling me cheap, even though I'm just generally frugal, especially compared to her, since she struggles with a gambling addiction. I'm not cheap with my boyfriend, though. I give thoughtful gifts and always offer to split things. Right now, we're not speaking because she thinks I implied she was hitting on my boyfriend. What bothers me most is that it feels like she's constantly undermining me in front of the person I care the most about. We're also supposed to go on vacation together next week, just the two of us. But since we're not talking, I have no idea how to approach it. How do I deal with this situation and set boundaries without making everything worse? Oh, wow. This is a deep one for this little raggedy column. I just, sound like the mom comes over to her house and then, she's trying to be nice. Because normally, like, you go over to visit your daughter and son-in-law or whoever the dude is. Maybe they're not married yet, the partner. And, you might bring a meal, bring a dish or something to put in their refrigerator for later. Or you might offer the cook to walk in the house with groceries. Or you order some DoorDash or something. Or you take them out to eat because, you want to show them a nice time while you're there being a guest in their house. So I can see why she's doing it. But, you don't turn around and spend the money then and then complain about how much it costs. That's not how it works. And that's what she's doing. But, you send your mama a text and say, our vacation is canceled. We need to have a talk about how you act and establish some boundaries for the future. That's what your text is going to say. And that's all you're going to say. You're not going to get into no back and forth and argument about it. And say, we'll get together in a couple of weeks. And then you got to sit down and talk to her about this. Because, you waited until you had to blow up, but you said the right thing, but you don't want to say it when you get pushed to the end. You want to say it when you're in control. And you want to tell your mother, it comes across like you're trying to undermine me, and which basically means you're trying to make yourself look better than me to my boyfriend. He's not interested in you. First, you're old enough to be his grandmother. Get real. So, I don't know what you're trying to be in competition with me for some 18 or 21-year-old dude. It's not going to happen. You say your mom's 50. She could be his grandmother, I guess. I don't know. Definitely he's old enough to be his mother. And so, it's just inappropriate. How she's acting is inappropriate. And that's what you need to tell her. I'm not going to be in competition with you over my boyfriend. I don't care who you date or what you do, but your behavior, you do that again, and we're going to go no contact. Because I'm not going to have it. And if I get married, you're not going to be coming to the wedding either. Because I'm not going to have you treat me like this and talk about me like that. So you have to, put her in check and tell her what you will and will not do. You haven't done that yet. Question number 9. This young lady, well, she's not young, I guess, 35 to 41 from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Summer issue. I flat out told my daughter that she doesn't have the right to mourn or to go to her ex-friend's funeral after what she did, and now she is not speaking to me. Dad, when my daughter was in school, she became friends with a girl, let's call her Mindy. Oh, God, Mindy. They stayed close through college, and my daughter was even one of Mindy's bridesmaids when she got married. To explain where my daughter's behavior came from, my ex-husband cheated on me repeatedly, and our marriage ended horribly. My daughter doesn't speak to her father anymore, and she absolutely despises cheating. About 7 years ago, my daughter became convinced that Mindy was cheating on her husband. She started harassing Mindy online and essentially blew up her life. By the time my daughter found out the man that she had seen Mindy with was actually a relative, it was too late. Mindy's marriage had already fallen apart, and because we live in a very religious community, she was ostracized by many people. They had a huge falling out, and it basically came down to my daughter ruining Mindy's life. Mindy blocked her on everything and eventually moved away. Mindy hated my daughter after that, and so did her mother. I still run into Mindy's mother occasionally, and she has made her feelings about my daughter very clear. The issue is that Mindy recently passed away. My daughter found out through a Facebook post, and the funeral was next weekend, 2 states away. My daughter was planning to attend the funeral, and I told her that it was a terrible idea. She said she needed to go, and I told her again that she shouldn't. We got into an argument, and she said that she had every right to mourn her friend and attend the funeral. I told her that she really didn't have the right to mourn Mindy or go to the funeral because Mindy hated her after everything that happened and because my daughter had destroyed her life. She hasn't spoken to me since. Now I'm wondering if I should warn Mindy's family that my daughter might show up at the funeral or that I might be in the wrong here. Oh, no, you should very much alert them so they can have security there. Let me tell you what's going to happen to Mindy. Oh, no, Mindy's the other girl. Oh, so your daughter, whatever her name is. Let's say her name is Cheryl. Cheryl going to show up at Mindy's funeral and Mindy's family is going to beat her ass. That's what's going to happen because she destroyed that girl's life, destroyed her marriage, destroyed her family, made her out to be a pariah in the community to the point where she had to move away. She ruined her life. They're going to perceive her showing up at the funeral as her coming to gloat. Yeah, I fucked up your life and now you dead, bitch. That's how they're going to be seeing her standing there. And they're going to have a visceral, emotional reaction. And most likely, your daughter is going to get her ass kicked to the point where like police will be called and stuff. And when people are grieving like that, they always get passed. They always get passed, especially when they tell the police that you were the reason why they contributed to the girl's stress and probably her early demise. Your daughter, if she does this, is stupid. And she show up at the right people's funeral, you might not never see your daughter again. She'd be showing up in a shallow grave some damn where. You know? Yeah. Your daughter, the last thing I would do is try to go take my ass to Mindy's funeral. I would act like I didn't see it. I don't know nothing about it, didn't even know she died. Because I would be so embarrassed at how I had done her and how I just jumped to conclusions and started posting shit like it was a fact when I didn't even know, the whole story. Question 10, this young man is 28 to 34. He's African-American from St. Louis, Missouri. Summary issue. I brought my own chair to a family dinner after my uncle kept assigning seats by weight and he threw me out. This is so great. Okay, Deb, my raggedy ass uncle recently bought a new dining table with these light wooden chairs he's extremely protective of. The first time we ate there, he quietly moved 2 of the bigger relatives onto folding chairs because he said the dining chairs had a lower weight limit. It was awkward, but nobody argued with him about it. At the next dinner, he had already put name cards on every seat. Everyone he considered smaller was at the table, while 3 of us placed on folding chairs along the wall. Mine wasn't even facing the table. He said he was only protecting his furniture. He saved money for it, and that people were being too sensitive about a practical issue. So this weekend, I brought my own sturdy dining chair from home and placed it at the table before dinner. My uncle was annoyed and said I was making a spectacle in front of everyone. I told him the name cards and separate row of chairs were already doing that. He asked me to either use the folding chair he provided or leave. So I left and I took the food I brought with me. Now some relatives think I embarrassed him in his own home, while others say his seating system was humiliating to begin with. Was I wrong? Nope. I think the shit was funny. I'm sorry. I'd have been up there laughing. But I mean, you're going to be like designating certain chairs because your shit is too cheap and can't hold nobody's weight. Then if people bring their own chairs so they feel comfortable, I mean, he should be happy. Then if the chair breaks or anything, it's their own property and he's not responsible for it. He ought to be happy instead of acting stupid. Hey, you're not going to use my chair, then you leave. Hey, your chair is going to give somebody hemorrhoids. I'm good. I'm out. Your uncle is a trip. It reminds you of people, how people get a new couch and they get it's a light color and then they wrap everything up in plastic. So when you sit down on it, your skin sticks to the plastic. It's like the worst experience in the world. Sit on them plastic covered couches and chairs. Oh my God. Used to be the thing that old people used to do that. Question number 11. This is a female 35 to 42. She's white European from Stoke-on-Trent in the UK. Summary issue. My sister is in financial trouble, and I care less than my family thinks I should, and I'm trying to stay out of it without fully torpedoing my relationship with my parents. I'm 36, my sister's 46, and she's been living in a house owned by our mother for the last 10 years or so. For the first few years, she was paying rent, but then she lost her job and stopped paying rent, and she never started again, even though she eventually found another job. Without going into too much detail, this house is now being forcefully taken by the government as they will bulldoze it along with the surrounding houses and build new apartments there. We have known about this for years. It's always been a matter of when, not if, this was going to happen. Despite this, and despite not paying any rent, my sister has made no effort to save money for her eventual inevitable move. She's explicitly been hoping that things would just work out in her favor and that the development wouldn't go ahead in the end. Well, the time has come. She has 3 months to get out, and she went ballistic. She's now accusing my mother of conspiring to make her homeless, allegedly because she didn't fight hard enough, even though they had endless meetings with lawyers. And she made it my parents' job to find her another place to live. What's worse, they accepted the task. They called me today to tell me the news. With the gravity usually reserved for the death of a close loved one, I could not bring myself to care. Like, yeah, sure, I feel bad for her on a basic human level. I guess it sucks that she'll have to uproot her life and move to a new place. But like I said, she only has herself to blame. She's made no effort to prepare for this. And now, instead of being humble and accepting that she messed up and she's taking any help she can with her head down, she's being horrible and expecting our parents who are in their late 70s and aren't financially doing great in no small part because of my sister to bend over backwards for her. My mother's asking me to call my sister to tell her that I've been told the news and that I feel bad for her and that I'm there for support. And I simply don't want to. Again, too much detail for this letter, but my sister hasn't been the greatest to me in the past. And the only reason I keep her in my life is that I can't be bothered with the family drama that would ensue if I cut her ass off. I feel like a lot of what my sister's like and how the situation is evolving is a big part due to my parents, and in particular my mom, coddling and enabling her. And I feel guilty that maybe I should have been more proactive in calling out my sister's behavior, maybe in staying passive and out of the drama. I have also contributed to the enabling. No, you haven't done, that's not enabling. It's not it was your mom's house and your sister was living in it and your sister wasn't paying your mom rent. So I'm trying to figure out where's that got you in it? You ain't in this. There's nothing about it. Your mother, I guess, is going to get some kind of settlement money from usually when they do that, they give you some kind of, some kind of money because they're going to take your house and boom, flatten it to the ground. So your mother would be getting some kind of payout. Your sister's probably depending on that to get herself a place to live. But y'all in the UK, she better go apply for some of that council housing. Since she's so broke and stuff, you better get her a council house and make the magic happen. Other than that, I don't know what to tell you. But if you do anything, you get both everybody on a line, on a 3-way call or whatever they call it, group call, and you say, all this is real interesting, but you already knew that this was going to happen. I refuse to get involved. I'm not going to spend any money. I'm not going to help you look for a place, and I'm not going to let you move in here either. So I don't know what you're going to do, but whatever it is, it don't involve me. Thank you very much. I just want to make my position clear. I wish you the best. Click. That's what you do. So you may, and that's why I want you to do it to everybody on the phone at the same time. Now, if you have extended family, most likely you're going to have to field calls from them. Them random aunties and uncles and them stray miscellaneous nieces and nephews that want to call and give you their 2 cents. You just say, unless you're going to write a check or let her move in with you, I don't want to hear it. I've stated my position. I'm not changing it. So if you want to help her out, you feel free. You don't need to tell me about it. Just go over there and write that check. Click. That's it. It's not hard. Question 12. This young lady's 35 to 42 from Sunnyvale, California. Summary of issue. Am I a bad mother for telling my son he's the reason that we had to leave his aunt's house? Deb, I have 2 kids, the 6-year-old female and the 10-year-old male. Shit happened and the kids and I needed a place to stay so I could get back on my feet. A friend that I haven't seen in years heard about my situation through another friend and offered for us to stay with her family for a while. She's married with 4 children, 6'4", oh, she has stereotypes, and 13 months. So she got the 3 oldest ones are girls and the last one is a boy. And is pregnant with baby number 5. Good Lord. This friend is an absolute angel. 2 of her kids were adopted from the foster system, and I am not the first friend that she's taken in. Her husband is in tech, and my friend is the director at a local private school. They have a big house with a huge playroom and a massive backyard with a play structure and a swimming pool. She had me complete a background check before moving in. Yeah, you have to do that if it's foster kids involved. We were moved in by the end of the week once that happened. She moved my daughter into her oldest daughter's room and they became immediate best friends. My son got a small room, 8 by 8, that was previously used for storage but had been beautifully decorated for him, and I stayed in their guest room. Now, my son can be extremely defiant. I've tried therapy with me, individual therapy, working with behavioral technicians, and everything else you can think of. He's a great kid at school, but once he gets home, everything is a power struggle. There can be lots of arguing, and he can get rough with his sister. My friend talked to me before we moved in about my son. She told me that she wants to help, but if the situation starts to become harmful to her kids, she will have to kick us out. That's right. He did great for a couple of weeks, then he started to test boundaries. He was punished when he started teasing his sister and my friend's oldest daughter. We were given our only warning. I talked to my son and tried punishment again, and he went back to messing with the girls. I was told that they are willing to keep my daughter until we get settled, but my son and I needed to move out that night. They got us a hotel for the weekend, then we were on our own. We bounced between hotels and motels for a few weeks, and now we're in a 2-bedroom apartment that almost definitely has mold problems while I'm applying to different income restricted apartments. I decided to keep my daughter with them until we are somewhere with a little more space and in a slightly better condition. I visit without my son a couple of times a week, and we spend weekends together. The other day, my son was mad at me and said that I favor his sister because I'm letting her stay at the good house while he has to live here. I was just done with his defiance. I told him that the reason she gets to stay there and he doesn't is because his behavior got us kicked out. He chose to ignore us when we talked to him and punished him for repeatedly taking food from the girls, shooting them with his Nerf guns, etc. So now he has to deal with the consequences. He has been so upset since then that I'm now wondering if I shouldn't have told him why we had. Oh no, you should have been giving him them consequences and stuff years ago. He's 10 years old. It sounds like this is the first time that he's ever had consequences for his behavior, where he actually lost something because of what he did. Lady, you haven't been doing, you send him to therapy and all that kind of stuff. But what kid, he's a male. They don't understand anything until they experience it themselves. They have to lose something. They have to get some kind of fear of something. You can't just talk to boys. They have to have action. And he hasn't been having the action until now. So now, he can be upset. He should be upset. So now he understands there's cause and effect. When you do fucked up shit, then you gonna have to, it's gonna impact the rest of your life. And it's the perfect time for you to be rubbing this in and giving him day after day of life lessons. Now remember this in the future. If someone tells you, if you do this, this, and this, and this, you're gonna get kicked out, believe them. It's their house. They set the rules. It's their club. It's their car. It's their whatever. You don't follow their rules, you get the fuck out. And if you unhappy, uncomfortable, miserable, don't have no food, whatever, suffer things you suffer after that, that was your decision because you chose to not listen. This is the time. This is when it's time for you to do some parenting. You just need to be sitting down with this little ass every day to make sure this lesson sticks. He gonna be trying to be mad. See, you got to keep reinforcing that because this is the kind of kid, he'll twist it around his mind that you did something and that is your fault, that he has to live in this shitty apartment instead of it being his fault, that you're suffering along with him. You have to suffer too because you had to move with him. And if I were you, I would talk to some people about how much you need to pay them for your daughter to stay there until she graduates high school and goes to college. Your son is a menace. He's going to disturb that girl. And since he's older than her, she's only 6 and he's 10, he's going to hit them hormonal teens. And it could be all bad for your daughter. Keep your daughter over there. Your son I don't trust him. And y'all know what I'm talking about. People are like, oh, but they're siblings. I don't give a fuck. That don't mean nothing. His attitude of feeling entitled to do things to girls is what I'm talking about. And once those hormones kick in, the things that they want to do to girls are other things, especially since she's only 6 and he's already 10. So, you need to rethink talk to them about her staying there. It's safer for her there. Okay. Question number 13. This is a female, 22 to 27, from Columbia, Maryland. Was I a bitch for telling my friend that she shouldn't rush to go find a baby daddy after just having had a kid? Wait, what? I have a best friend of 8 years who I'll call Monica. Monica is 19, and about 10 months ago, she met some dude and they started dating, and within a month, she got pregnant. Monica has a history of short-term relationships, so I was very worried that he'd leave her from the start, given how little she knew him. She would always date guys for a few weeks, go on vacation with them, live with them, and seem genuinely happy with them until they promptly break up and she gets into a new man and repeats the process. While she was 9 months pregnant, the guy dumped her out of nowhere. He left her and immediately became obsessed with a new girl on some dating app, which apparently knew about his heavily pregnant girlfriend for her, which is just awful all around. Shame on them both. Not really. What? Okay, I have to stop here. I'm trying to figure out, when you're in a situation like this, you just met somebody, within a month, you get pregnant. I'm trying to understand what kind of logic you using to feel like there should be shame here on the guy for not having any kind of emotional attachment to her. She knew that when she was dipping around with dude and had just known him for barely a couple of weeks. If a guy is not emotionally attached to you, he's not going to be emotionally attached to no baby you have either. That's the part that so many girls just don't fucking get. They think, oh, well, he should care about his kids. No, he shouldn't. Men care about the kids that come from the woman that they love. They love their kid because they love you. Even if he don't love you anymore, like, you guys been married and stuff, it then becomes like a 50-50 thing. I mean, some guys can continue to love the kid and some guys don't, because they if the divorce is very acrimonious, they just have so much negative emotion associated with the woman. Anything that looks like her, smells like her, breathes like her, they want nothing to do with it. So it becomes a very challenging situation. Those are fathers that they call, they pay child support and stuff, but they don't ever come to see the kids because they don't want to see that mama. So, women need to think about this kind of thing. You don't know a dude. He ain't attached to you. Why would you have a baby by him? You should have been hopped up on the nearest termination table if you should let that happen, or go get you some plan B like the next morning or something. Okay, so let's see. So he vanished from the lives of Monica and the baby, and he's already head over heels for some new girl. Well, I mean, friends in our circle are persistently telling Monica that she needs to go out and find a stepdad for her baby immediately so the baby can grow up with a father figure. Weeks after having a baby, getting dumped while postpartum, they are telling her that she needs to go find a stepdad. I think this advice is bad. Monica has a really bad past with stepdads. Growing up, her mother constantly brought new men around and abusive boyfriends through the house to be stepdads to her. The last thing she should be doing is bringing new men around her newborn baby and probably repeating the exact same cycle that she grew up in. Today, during a call, Monica brought this up, saying that she could get a stepdad for her baby fast. I told her I don't think that's a good idea. She asked why, and I don't know if I was being too blunt, but I brought up how frequently she used to be in short-term unstable relationships, most often with men who did her wrong, and how she personally grew up with many bad stepdads, saying that she should try to avoid her own baby growing up in that way, and that she should try to focus on herself and the baby instead of worrying about finding a stepdad right now. That was all one sentence. I heard her crying after I said this, and she told me maybe I was right, but I feel horrible for making her cry. I'm second guessing myself. All I wanted to do was give her what I thought that she needed some advice, but maybe I overstepped. I don't know if anyone else would have told her this. Well, I would have. Yeah, Monica, it's too late. She already had the baby. But Monica, is confused. You know, I remember what, okay, I don't remember how did I meet this girl? Anyway, I met this one girl and we went to this party in Richmond. I hadn't had no business over in the hood of Richmond because that's really not my folks. But, you know, I was there and whatever. So this girl was at the party. I'll never forget that she was 24 years old and she had already had 7 babies and she did not have custody of any of them. The state had taken all of them. All of them were in foster care or already adopted to, you know, other people. 24. And then if you look at this little girl, she was cute, but you could see like her eyes were vacant. There was nothing there. Her soul had been destroyed a long time ago. I just never forget that look on her face. It was rough. So it was like around when I first started doing all this advice stuff. And I remember being stunned at how broken she looked. Like, so these people, you know, taking advantage of her and she just going along with it. And she just couldn't say no to save her life and having all them damn babies. It was sad. Question number 14. This is a young man, 28 to 34. He's Latino from Riverside, California. Summary issue. I'm wondering if my fiance has feelings for my best friend. Oh, this sounds juicy. My best friend are both 29. He used to slide into many DMs prior to me beginning a relationship with my fiance, who's 28. I knew they used to talk, but they never went out on a date ever, etc. And she confirmed that there was no feelings for my best friend. Fast forward to today, my best friend got married last year, and now I'm engaged. We had a recent bridesmaid/groomsman bridal party box reveal. Will you be my groomsman, etc.? I don't know what she's talking about. And obviously, I invited my best friend because I was his best man last year. The night went well, but my fiance disappeared after my best friend took off. I found her in the kitchen with her cousin and my other friend, and she was crying and sad about my best friend leaving the party early. She was also talking negatively about my best friend's wife, which I found to be odd. She then said that she was crying because of her cousin that had passed away earlier this year. My friend confirmed that was not the case, as the conversation was centered around my best friend leaving. I was shocked and hurt that she was so emotional that my best friend left because of the past history. She then later confirmed that she would have reacted that way if anyone had left early, but my gut tells me that's not the case. I went for a walk to cool off, and when I came back, her entire family confronted me about the whole situation, but because of all the alcohol, I took an Uber home instead of spending the night at her parents' where the party was hosted. Deb, what should I do next? How would you typically handle this situation? Not sure where to go from here, but I do have an issue with that, and I think that these personal issues should be worked out between us in private without family intervention. Well, yeah, but dude, I mean, what do you what what do you need to see that you haven't already seen? Your friend left with his wife. Okay, he's married, he's happy doing whatever it is he's doing. The one who hasn't let go yet is your fiance. So how can you feel like you can be engaged to some woman who's going to be in another room crying about some other man? Where they do that at? I mean, I hate to be so blunt, but I mean, I have to, because you sound like you're trying to figure out how to just move this around in your head to make it make sense so you can stay in this relationship with this broad. This chick, I mean, I don't know how long they, talked. And she said she never went on a date, but that doesn't mean they didn't hang out together or do the wild thing or something, because these days people call it hooking up. They don't call it a date. But there's some emotional attachment that she has to this guy that she hasn't shared with you. Her reaction is not normal. And people are like, well, but they were drinking. Let me tell you about drinking. Drinking alcohol don't put nothing in your head that wasn't already there. What alcohol does is allow what you've been keeping under wraps and quiet because of your conscious mind. It makes it free. The alcohol releases your inhibitions. So your conscious mind is just set free, and all the things that's in your unconscious mind come spewing out your mouth, or you start to demonstrate it in your behavior. That's what's really going on here. So no matter what she told you in the past, there's a disconnect between her reaction and what she told you and what reality must be. Because there's something that's not, she didn't tell you, there's something happening here. There's way more connectedness, emotional connectedness from her to your best friend than she's willing to admit. Let me put it that way. So you need to rethink this engagement. If I were you, I would call the wedding off, because I would not, marriage is hard enough when the people are in love with each other and deeply committed. You have one person going into it with one foot, in it, and the other one on a banana peel, sliding in some other man's direction. That's not going to work. Not going to work. You would spend all this money, invest all this time and energy, and then end up divorced in a year or two. So you give this some serious thought. I'm not trying to be mean. I just want you to understand the reality. Somewhere, what she told you versus how she acted versus what she said happened, there's something in there that's not true. Something's going on. You need to do investigation. Question 15. She's 22 to 27. She's Caucasian from Tulsa, Oklahoma. So her issue, where is the buildup with physical intimacy? I get that everybody has different preferences. Most want to test if there's a spark through kissing, or even say they need to see if there's physical chemistry. What happened to these things happening at special moments in a connection, a relationship, as natural signs of deepening of the connection? These days, 9 out of 10 men I meet prefer to act on the physical at the end of a first or second date. And I know that's largely standard for many. And within a month of dates or so, the physical exploration just ramps up. Again, I'm not judging. To each his or her own. But personally, I just find it cheapens the connection. Exactly. Because what is truly built that early on? Nothing. How is the kiss or touch any different than what I could do with a casual hookup? Maybe I'd be more inclined if I'm really, really attracted to the guy and can sense long-term interest on my end early on. But that usually isn't the case. Even then, I try to keep a line so we can get to know each other. I'm seeing someone these days, and while I've given into physical exploration, I just don't think there's enough connection built for any of it to have been truly special. It's almost like we're exploring each other as we go, but nothing's been truly established. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I do. You're going through the motions because it's what happens is people get together, right? This new dating. And everybody expects, that there's going to be some physical contact, even from just, hand holding to kissing to making out to, actual having nookie early on, before they even know each other's middle name or favorite color. And then they wonder why the relationships struggle with communication, why there's no real commitment, why they have such weird arguments, why there's the other person still on dating sites, why they can't really, get a commitment out of the person even after months of dating. It's like it was never there to begin with. It has to be there first. People just don't seem to have the patience, though, for that anymore. Everybody wants instant gratification because, the swipey thing, all our communication since the 90s, everything speeded up. It speeded up. Once email and stuff became, you didn't have to send an email, a letter anymore. You could send an email. That was the beginning of it. And it's just amped up ever since. So even with the, dialing going from push button phones to the one where you had to dial, you had to wait for it to go back and then you had to dial. Even that speeded up things. So all of this, in essence, has accelerated people's behavior, but it doesn't change the emotional nature of human beings. So, society might be doing these things, but emotionally, us as people have not changed. We still need that same kind of connectedness, that same kind of heartfelt closeness, that same kind of sense of knowing someone and being this intimacy and, trust and all those things have to be built up, and those things take time. They don't happen on just, because you swiped left, swipe right. They don't happen like that. So I totally get what you're saying, and it's something I've marveled at myself, and I just really feel sad that, our society has kind of just come to this point to where, young people just don't even really get the pleasure of dating and spending time around someone of the opposite sex, just having fun, not with any expectations for anything. That just doesn't seem to be happening anymore. And it's very sad. It's very unfortunate. Even young kids, 14, 15 years old, they don't do that. We used to do what was called group dates. It'd be like a gang of us go out. We go to like amusement park, or we go to the beach, or we do, it's like a gang, like hella folks. And so, there are people there that liked each other and whatever, but nobody was going to do nothing because we knew better. First of all, we knew better. It wasn't that kind of party. It was just an opportunity to spend time around these people that you thought you liked, just so you could get see another side of them outside of school. And it was always, people there to kind of, run interference. So nobody got too jiggy. And it was fun. It was fun that way. But kids don't do that anymore. Question number 16. This young lady's 35 to 41. She's African American, a Virgo from Cleveland, Ohio. Summary of issue. Why do I typically pay for every date with every guy? You want my honest answer? Or you want the politically correct one? I'm 35 and I typically pay for every date with every guy I date, and I date a lot. I don't mind, but I kind of wonder why this happens. Do normal women not offer to pay or half offer? No. Typically, the guys like half pull out their wallets and I say, it's okay, I got it. You mean the whole thing? Sometimes they just say, why are you paying? And I'm like, no biggie. This happens with every guy. I just feel like it's not typical, so I'm curious. Most guys I date make less than, she must be less than I do. But even guys who make a similar amount let me pay. Only a fool would insist on pulling their money and spending their money if you're going to offer. I know people do, it's let me pay, and it's all polite and all that kind of stuff. But I don't do that. If you offer to pay, I'm going to let you pay. I might say, well, can I leave the tip? Can I pay the parking? Can I buy you a drink when we go to spot number 2? Something like that, if we don't want to keep the evening going. But if somebody insists on paying, I'm going to let them pay. I'm not going to argue with you about it. So in this situation, you offer. So of course they take you up on it. You need to just shut up and let them pay. Now, this is the other thing you need to think of is this why you date so much? Do you know when if a guy's off, he's getting ready to pay and then you jump ahead and say, oh, I got it. Not even your half, but the whole thing. That is a very clear sign that you're not interested in him and you don't want anything else to do with him. In dating lingo, that's what that means. Any woman that, she's like, oh, let me get it. She is sealing that door shut. She's putting some like studs in it, super glue, cement, duct tape, everything around that door. You ain't never getting back through that door. That's what that means. It's an instant shutdown. So, then guys know that. So that's probably why they were like asking you, why are you paying? Because they thought that things were going well and that it was a nice evening and they probably wanted to see you again. But when you did that, they took it as the total shutout. Girl, your dating style is all kinds of fucked up. You need to rethink this. Listen to some videos on this channel and get yourself together a little bit better here. Number 17, this young lady's 20 to 34. She's a Cancer from Omaha, Nebraska. Summary of issue. I feel like every man I meet only wants me physically, not as a life partner. Deb, I want a serious relationship and marriage, but I feel like every man I meet only wants me physically. They act like they're looking for commitment, but eventually it feels like it was all just to get nook. How do you tell who's genuine anymore? Yeah, with time, that's the only way you can do. I'm in my 30s and I'm dating because I genuinely want a husband and a life partner. I'm not interested in casual dating or hookups. What's been so discouraging is that I keep meeting men who say they want the same thing. Of course they do. They all plan thoughtful dates and act like a gentleman and talk about the future and mention exclusivity early on and make it seem like they're genuinely interested in getting to know me. Then sooner or later it becomes clear that they never really wanted a relationship. It starts to feel like they were just saying and doing whatever they thought would get them closer to Nookie. I don't understand it. Yes, you do. You just said it. That's very true. The clue is this: mention exclusivity early on. That's it right there. Every woman should know that trick. When they start talking about, do you want to be my girlfriend, or I'm shutting down my dating app page, whatever they call it, my profile. I'm going to introduce you to my parents. I'm going to, let's plan a trip. Anything that they do that makes it sound like there's a future there and that it's going to just be the two of you when they just fucking met you is game. Why do so many women fall for this? This clown don't know shit about you. He ain't met your people. He don't know your hobbies, your interests. He ain't seen you, get upset about it. He don't know you. So how in the world is he going to be making any kind of determination about he wants exclusive commitment? Come on, ladies. You ought to know this. I shouldn't even have to tell you this. Anybody should know this. Y'all just be so hungry for a relationship, though. You just let your good common sense just fly out the window. Any man you just met, and I mean within the first couple of months, start talking all this exclusivity shit or future faking is game. He just wants to get you and get your panties down. Okay? Understand what time it is and stop being so dumb. My God. This is just, they're not serious. They're saying what they know women fall for. But I keep telling you, you can't listen to what they say. They're going to say all kind of shit. What are they doing? What are they doing? Are they manifesting any of these things in real life? And I mean over a period of time, not just a week or two. Are they making this stuff that they said they was going to do? Is it happening? Are these things they said they're going to do for you, or is it happening? The places they said they're going to take you, is it happening? The people they're going to introduce you to, is it happening? What's happening in this relationship? Is everything is always talk. They don't do shit. So you say, how are you supposed to tell the difference between someone who's genuinely looking for a wife and someone who's just performing that role long enough to get what they want? Just what I told you. Lately, I found myself wondering if marriage is even in the cards for me. I know that's probably my discouragement talking, but after having the same experience over and over, it's hard not to wonder if maybe I'm just never going to meet someone who's actually interested in building a life with me. You probably met a couple of them, but you got to handle men differently. First of all, you don't ever give them what they want like that. They come in talking all that shit about, yeah, I could see us doing this and, I could see us doing that, and say, well, I could see me trying to get to know you better first. I don't see where all what you're talking about makes sense to even be talking about right now. Slow them down. Shut it down. Don't get caught up. Let me say, oh yeah, that sounds so wonderful. Oh my God, that sounds beautiful. That sounds so much fun. Yeah, I'd like to introduce you to my family too. Why would you say that? Your parents don't want to meet some crusty butt off the swipey thing that you just met. They're not trying to be bothered with like that. And you don't know who these people are, inviting them, just letting them know what your parents have all up in their house. And you talking about your job and your paycheck and your investments and letting them see how your relatives are living and looking at your relatives' little kids. You don't know who these people are. You just bring them all around in your life and all around people that don't have nothing to do with your dating life, exposing them to these weirdos. They don't need to be around no little kids. They don't need to be around any vulnerable seniors. You need to be more protective of your folks. Okay, don't be talking about your girlfriend's business and where your girlfriends live and where your girlfriends work and stuff. I mean, we setting these women up, these dudes sometimes work in groups. They do this that's their living, to find vulnerable women that love to run their goddamn mouths. And then they go and they just victimize everybody. They get a whole group of women they can victimize because y'all just love to talk too much. You talk too much and you too trusting. So to men that you just fucking met. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because a lot of, you meet them and you start going around they folks and you be like, oh, hell to the no. Their friends be looking all kind of like they just got out of prison or they just was homeless last week or some shit. Or they just, like they hyped up on something. They got them high beams on. I mean, all kind of stuff you can tell by people looking at their friends. That don't mean you're going to look into mine, no. You ain't coming to my house. And definitely when my daughter was little, you definitely ain't coming around my house and around my kid. Oh, no. That's not happening. So I don't understand these women and how they date. I don't understand. Yeah. Oh, your family was police? Oh, nope, because they have too much domestic violence. And then they cover up for each other. Nope, not doing that either. So I don't know. So let's move on. That bothers me that women are still so naive in this 2020, almost 2027. This is a game that you should have known before from the 80s and 70s and shit. Question number 18, female 28 to 34. She's a Pisces, African American, and they're in Texas. The male's also 28 to 34. He's also Black and he's an Aquarius. Oh, Aquarius and Pisces. I don't think that's a good match. Anyway, summary issue. Why did this person's energy toward me change when we finally met? I'm 29 and I recently had a confusing experience with a 30-year-old male photographer I met through a large gaming convention. The year before, he was eager to photograph me and repeatedly reached out wanting to do a photo shoot. We stayed loosely connected with him complimenting my photos, saying he wanted to come visit my city and asking about visiting New York. This year, he invited me to the convention because he had an extra pass and still wanted the photo shoot and still owed me rather the photo shoot. I thought this would be a fun opportunity to see him work, get to know him better, and possibly build a friendship because he seemed to have similar interests. I was not expecting anything romantic, just a genuine connection. Before meeting, he seemed excited to see me and hoped he would hang out after he completed his work. However, once we were together, his energy felt completely different. I was with him most of the convention, helping him with assignments, finding locations, and supporting him, but I felt like he was emotionally distant. He was very social and engaged with everyone else, but when it was just us, the conversation felt awkward and quiet. I felt like I was trying to connect while he seemed distracted. During the convention, he introduced me to another woman who he had met the year before through her job as a dancer. She picked him up from the airport and had given her a pass. Okay, you just wrote too much. So anyway, toward the end of the day, I became quieter and stopped trying so hard because I felt uncomfortable. I left early because I felt like I was intruding. He later texted me around midnight asking if I made it home safely, but he never acknowledged that the photo shoot never happened or that I might have felt left out. Oh, because he was with this woman and you was feeling like a third wheel. I ended up unfollowing him and not responding because I felt hurt. I'm trying to understand what happened. Did he simply lose interest after meeting me in person? Did he prefer the other woman because they already had history? Did I misread the connection we had before meeting? Or was he just socially unaware and not realizing how excluded I felt? The hardest part is that I wasn't expecting him to choose me over anyone else. I just thought I was meeting someone who could become a cool, creative friend. And instead, I left feeling invisible and wondering if he saw any value in me at all. Your mistake was, okay, you met a clown at a convention last year. So then you had a follow-up convention and he been whining and talking about a photo shoot. Okay. Talking about a photo shoot. And you was helping him with assignments, finding locations, and supporting him. Do you know photographers' assistants make grand theft money? You did all that shit for free. You did entirely too much. Okay, so then he was emotionally distant. Well, he was a distant when you met him, though. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what did you think was going to happen? I mean, on one hand, you say, well, I was just expecting a cute connection. But then you're saying, well, he was emotionally distant. You can't have it both ways. You seem like, your lips are saying that you was cool just being, casual business acquaintance because it's somebody you just met before doing a photo shoot. But then you whine, I felt excluded. He preferred her over me. And so, you giving mixed messages here. It's like you like the guy and you want something to jump off, but you don't want to admit it because he rejected you. Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I can't read between the lines? I don't know what you're saying here. Well, you were a third wheel. I mean, he didn't have any ties to you, a relationship. He never made any commitment to you. He never made any promises to you. He never said he was going to be with you. He never said you guys were going to go out for dinner together, have a date, a drink, nothing. He made no kind of promises like that to you whatsoever. So your feelings about it, I mean, you're entitled to have them, but they're ridiculous under the circumstances. So, it's good that you blocked them though, and I want you're 29, you need to grow up a little bit more. And if you can't handle dating better than this, keep your mind more focused and grounded in reality, then you don't need to be dealing with none of these dudes. You're not ready. Question 19, female 20 to 34. She's African American. Just says USA. The male's also 20 to 34. I guess he's Blasian. No, what is white and Asian? I don't know what they call that. Black and Asian is Blasian. I don't know what white and Asian is. But anyway, he's white and Asian. Okay, summer issue. I had a bad dating experience that made me realize how terrified I am of my intuition. A few days ago, while in the local bookstore, I was approached by a guy. Immediately during and after our conversation, I felt a bit unsettled by him. I couldn't put my finger on it. I declined his offer to get tea that evening, but we exchanged numbers, and I agreed to meet him the following day. If I'm being honest, I went because I wanted some practice. I wasn't particularly enthusiastic about the date. The next day comes and we agree to get drinks. However, I never drink alcohol on dates, so I opted for mocktails. Anyways, we met at a bar and I noticed two things. Number one, I'm the only Black person there. And number two, he was visibly uncomfortable with us sitting at the front and asked instead for a booth in the back. Clearly, for whatever reason, he did not want to be seen with me. Okay, well, that's quite a bit of a jump to make, but whatever. That said, we sat and I noticed that he started asking me questions like, what's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you? To which I replied, I don't really feel shame. I dodged all of his invasive questions just like he taught me. I also noticed that he was mirroring my responses. Oh, I use that NLP shit. Fast forward, I see that it's getting pretty late. So I tell him I plan to go soon, to which he suggests that we sit in the park. Why would you go into a park with some dude, it's getting late, and you just met this clown? Okay, I say okay. Oh, and I go, big mistake. I'm glad you thought so. Because for the rest of the night, he pushed my boundaries until we ended up in his hotel room, which was conveniently located near the bar, LOL. While he was in the bathroom, I turned on my voice recorder and put it in my handbag just in case something popped off. After he came out, he began massaging me and we made out. Then I suddenly stopped, gathered my things, and said that I wanted to leave. Foolishly, I said, if that's okay with you, to which he obliged, but was clearly annoyed. I asked him to walk me to the bus stop, which he did, but halfway there, I decided I did not want to know which way I was going, so I abruptly left. Before doing so and throughout the night, he constantly said he would Uber me back home, to which I declined as I did not want him to have my address. I immediately blocked him when I got home, then unblocked him to say that he was a disgusting piece of shit, and then I blocked him again for good girl. What are you doing? Dad, it's like my mind shut down on me during the whole ordeal. I wish mine could. And I had to snap out of it. I have never done anything so risky in my life. Not even one night stand. This could have ended very badly for me. Yeah, exactly. My therapist thinks I should put dating on the back burner until I learn how to be more assertive and heal more. I agree with her. That said, I know I have a strong intuition, but I'm seeking advice on how to act on it until it becomes second nature, self-preservation, and stand firmly in my no. To be honest, I think I'm a bit afraid of my intuition. It's like my mind and body quickly subdue all of its cues. This experience has radicalized me so much that I refuse for it to happen again. Okay, where did you talk about your intuition kicked in? You didn't put that part. You didn't say anything here about where your intuition popped off and then you overrode it. Okay. I don't even know where to start. You did so many just wrong things here. First of all, when he talked about going to a park, you're supposed to say, no, thank you. I don't like mosquitoes. I'm going to go now, but it was nice meeting you. And then you call your own Uber or taxi or whatever you're going to do. And then you get your ass in your ride and you take your ass to your house. That's what you do. Okay. You don't be wandering around in the forest, in the woods with no man that you don't even know. That's dumb. Okay. You heard that phrase, shallow grave? Ring a bell? Yeah, that. Okay, so then you're gonna call and gonna block the dude and call him a name and then block him back. Okay, that was doing way too much, but whatever. I guess he didn't really care. The thing about sitting in the back with the table, I don't know if that is really a thing because usually in the front they have tables with them like hard chairs where it's hard on your butt, and in the booth it's cushioned seats. It could just be something as simple as this, more comfortable. You know, think about it. I mean, don't always look for rejection. It doesn't always mean that. But if you really did feel that way, then why didn't you just leave? You really felt like he was dissing you like that. What'd you stay for? So see, these are the kind of things that, I have to ask you these questions because, you got yourself in a situation like even after you went to the park, you still could have left. You didn't have to go to his hotel room. Then you get to the hotel room and you wait for him to take a shower. You could have left while he was taking a shower. You stayed. Then you turn on your recorder like, oh, girl, and put it in your purse in case something jumped off. Okay, so when something jumped off, you was going to have a recording of the shit that went down. But, I mean, how's that going to stop the shit from going down, though? The way for that to happen is for you not to be there. So, you should have left while he was there. You could have called the front desk while he was in the shower, say, call me an Uber or a cab or whatever. I need to get out of here. I'll be there in a minute, and go downstairs and wait outside for the person to come. So I don't know, but see, this is why I like to always drive my own car. I've had my own car since I was 16. I don't go nowhere unless I can get my ass in my car and drive the fuck off whenever I want to. So I always have a ride, always. Yeah, honey, because she could have been on the next 48. This is not good. Don't do this anymore. Question 20. She's 22 to 27, Latina from Central New Jersey. The male's 22 to 27. He's a white guy. Summary of issue. Fiance and I don't see things eye to eye and argue. I don't think we are compatible, but he says he will change. My partner and I have been together for almost 5 years and engaged for 2. He's a stoner and an ex-gamer. I told him gaming grosses me out, so he stopped gaming. I told him I don't like that he smokes either. He's been cutting down and only smokes after work now. I am always reminding him to brush his teeth because his breath smells, or telling him to go to the doctor because his sweat smells like vinegar. It took him almost a year to go to the dentist and to the doctor. I didn't kiss him or have nook for many months because he grossed me out. He bought a house for us, but it's in a constant state of construction. He pays all the bills to the house, but will leave dishes in the sink. I brought most of the items in the house, and he burnt a pan I just recently bought, and it's still not cleaned. Am I overreacting since he provides a house, or should I leave him once and for all and put my foot down and not let him manipulate me into staying? Oh, y'all, this is never going to work. First of all, I'm not understanding why you've been together for 5 years and he's been like this for the whole 5 years, right? But yet you got engaged, and what'd you do that for? Why would you have a man who's gross and his breath smells and he's funky and he living in a house that's constantly under construction? I mean, why would you get engaged to somebody like that? Was that the best you thought you could do? I'm going to say this. These things about him, this is who he is. So I told another lady, and I always tell you women this, either you accept the man the way that he is and you shut up, or you trade him in for a different model, one that doesn't have these issues. Now he's going to have other issues, but he won't have these issues. And that's the thing about men. They all got some fucked up shit about them. I haven't met one yet that was, didn't have some kind of crazy, annoying thing that they do or say. But what you as women, what we have to do is find a man that has the level of annoying behaviors that we can tolerate. It just amounts to that. Okay, it does this it. So it doesn't sound like these kind of things, funky breath and armpits and stuff are anything that you can really tolerate. It just sounds disgusting. So in this case, you would throw this fish back in the lake, and then you would go and pick up your fishing pole and your little bait and stuff, and you would go to another pond, another lake, another stream, another ocean, whatever, to find a different kind of fish. That's what you should do. Because this guy don't sound like he's the one. The things that you are annoyed about are kind of petty things, but they are the things that end relationships, because you start focusing on these little things like this, and they just like swell up in size and importance until you can't take it anymore. Question 21, this female's 35 to 41, she's African American. It just says USA. Males 42 to 49, some of the issue. I help raise my partner's kids while their mom is mostly absent. Now I'm meeting her for the first time. How do I navigate the tension? Hey, Deb, I've been with my partner for 4 years, living together for 2. He has 2 teen daughters and I have children of my own. 2 years ago, their mother moved out of state to pursue a relationship, leaving him as a full-time parent. She contributes minimally and very inconsistently with child support and only sees him about 30 days a year. Since then, my partner has taken on everything from finances, appointments, school, and daily care. I've naturally stepped into a very hands-on role as well. I'm actively involved in helping care for them as needed, especially when he travels for work. I've had to step in during emergencies, including taking one of the girls to urgent care and even following an ambulance to the hospital from her school, all while trying to keep both parents informed in real time. Despite being this involved in their lives, I've never actually met their mother. Only real interaction was during one of those emergencies. She texted me asking for my last name without context, and when I text asking why, she responded with comments like, "From one mother to another, there should be no hesitation, and she's my daughter." I didn't feel collaborative. It didn't feel collaborative. It felt accusatory, rather, especially given I was the one physically there caring for her child. I also overheard her demanding to be taken off of speakerphone while speaking with her daughter while I was in the hospital room with the girl. This made me feel like she may have been speaking negatively about me. You don't know that. Fast forward, now we're meeting for the first time at graduation. Oh, so this letter, we've had this around for a minute. Their oldest daughter and my daughter will be graduating from the same high school. My daughter has been discussing what celebrations might look like afterward. I expressed that I don't feel comfortable doing any kind of joint celebration given the lack of relationship and what I perceive as underlying tension. And I prefer to keep things separate to avoid awkwardness or conflict. Am I wrong for not wanting to celebrate together? I suggested to my partner that she celebrate with her moms and that side of her family, and we did something another day with his daughter in mind. Also, how should I approach meeting her in person for the first time, given the role I played in her children's lives without ever having any real interaction with her? Thank you in advance. No, I agree with the thing about the party because they're graduating from the same high school, but they have different family and most likely different friends. So they should have separate parties. Her mother should fund her party, and then you and your baby dad, husband, whoever the clown is, your partner, fund the second one. Now talk to your daughter, because your daughter might not want to be included in any party with anybody. She might just want to have her own, right? So his daughter would have the party with her mama. He could go to that, and then you host one for your daughter with her family and her friends. If I were her, that's what I would want. I wouldn't want to have my graduation party, joined up with some people I don't even know and don't like. All right. Now, as far as meeting this woman, I mean, I'm trying to figure out what you think is going to happen. It's like, she's just some old raggedy bitch. I mean, just like, you meet her and she's going to say, "Oh, I'm so-and-so." And you say, "Okay, I'm so-and-so. It's good to finally meet you." And you say a few words about the daughter, that she might not know, answer any questions she might have. And then that's it. I mean, it's no big deal. I don't understand why you're putting all this on it. Not a big deal. She's just, an absent parent. So that's why I would lead with stuff that she might not know. Yeah, let me tell you a few things that, you might not, that they may not have told you about so and so. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, that was so funny when she did this and that, blah, blah. Oh, we were so proud of her when she did such. And then, she's really showing a lot of growth and maturity and stuff. We've been proud of her. She's probably going to go to a good college and that. And then I'll be done. I would just put all that shit out there and just let her absorb it. That's how you would do that. Question number 22. This young lady's 20 to 34. She's African American Black. No location was provided. Summary of issue. Should I tell future partners about my plastic surgery? Hey, Deb, I hope all is well. I'm writing to hear your opinion on if or when I should tell a person I'm dating that I've had work done. To provide some context, I had a bad car accident a few years ago that left me with burns on my face, leaving me without pigment. I'm a very dark-skinned Black woman, so the contrast between my skin and the burns were stark and hard to cover with makeup. As such, I got facial fat/stem cell grafting done to reverse the damage and opted for a cosmetic nose job. Fast forward 2 years later, my burns are completely gone, my pigment has returned, and so has my confidence. I love what I see when I look in the mirror. However, recently I have been thinking about the ethics of getting work done as a Black woman, especially since part of why I got it stemmed from years of abuse leading to facial dysmorphia. I'm currently in therapy for this and it is going well. I also do not plan to get anything done ever again as I'm completely satisfied with how I look and I'm learning to love myself. That said, people have told me that I don't look very different post-surgery or that my change is very subtle and natural, which is very reassuring to me as I want to look like myself. Yet I feel like I will have to come clean to every guy or girl I am with and that it may become an issue because of a choice I made when I was not healthy. I personally do not judge people who get work done, nor would it change how I feel about someone, but I understand that the world does not work that way. Thank you for all you do, girlfriend. Now, I know you've been on this channel. You know I am a firm believer in shutting the fuck up. I'm trying to understand why you think you need to dig into your personal life, especially when it involves something as horrific as an accident that disfigured you. Why would you need to throw that out on the table and discuss that with anybody? That is not their goddamn business. Don't you dare bring that up to anybody. You look the way you look now. It was a problem. You suffered a trauma, which I'm sure was very confusing for you and hurtful and did a lot of anxiety and all that kind of stuff. Why would you want to hash that back up so and put that out on the table so some clown you just met could judge you for that? Why, even if their judgment came out to be positive, why would you do that? What is it that you hope to get out of a situation like that? Let's start there. Because everything that we do it for a reason. We do it because we're hoping to get some kind of result. When you go back to your therapist, you ask your therapist that question. I was talking to this vice columnist and she asked me, if I go spill my guts and talk about this, what is it I'm hoping to get out of this situation? What am I hoping is going to happen? What am I hoping they're going to say? What am I hoping is going to be their emotional reaction? Because there's something deep down that you're hoping for. You might not want to admit it. You might not want to admit it, but there's something that you're looking for. It might be sick and twisted. It might be self-damaging. It might be, perfectly normal and healthy. I don't know. I'm not going to even try to guess. But you need to figure that out because this idea that you should even think about telling somebody is what's tripping me out. I'm trying to figure, why the fuck is that anybody's business but yours? I mean, I'm glad that you had the funding to get that done. So you didn't have to walk around and sport that scar for the rest of your life. And every time you look in the mirror, you got to be reminded about that accident. I'm happy for you. But that does not mean you need to tell everybody. It's not their business. Okay? Question 23, female 22 to 27, Caucasian from Boston. The male's 20 to 34. Summary of issue. I'm a first-time dater and I think he's stringing me along. Hi, Deb and squad. I've been seeing a guy from a swipey thing for about 2 months. We met up once a week. He was the one to schedule each date except when this issue started. I'm 27 and I never dated before, and he's 31. His profile said he wants a long-term relationship. Of course it does. A few days in, I realized he was texting me back infrequently or went silent for a day or two. When we met again, he said he was sick. He hugged me, then said, I have to, and then just kissed me and walked off to his car. Being my first kiss, I was very confused. We don't acknowledge it, and we meet again the next week. This time he holds my hand and we kiss again. The following week, we go to a beach, but there was no one there. And he said, let's do this. And he started kissing me a lot and kissed my neck. I was very shocked. We walked to our cars, and I asked if he wants to make plans again. He has told me that since we first started meeting, that he's going away for a work trip and to go to his hometown until July. I text him and ask what he wants from me because I feel the pacing is off. We get physically closer, but I don't think he ever complimented me. We meet up, and he says he'll delete the apps. I deleted mine too. Ooh, child, you are so, so brand new, you poor little thing. We make final plans before he goes away, and he replies more frequently. But midway through our date, he said his female friends who are visiting had let the dog out and could not find him, so he had to go. Yet he had time to stand by my car, hug me, and then make out some more. I asked again, what are we? And he said exclusive. Oh, my God. I think I asked it very idiotically. I agree. I think I'm getting strung along. You're not. He texted me saying the dog was found, but other than that, it's been quiet. It's a change of how it was before. And I'm not sure where this leaves me now. I wish I didn't let him continue making out with me to the extent he did, because it feels like he only wanted that. My question here is, what do I do? What do I do to not look more desperate? And he was on his phone a lot. He looked distracted, but kept mentioning future plans. Everyone I've asked about this has answers which don't help me. But I find that I feel so horrible from this. It's probably a sign. Thank you for your advance. Well, I answered this exactly in another letter, a few letters back, about the game. If a guy that you meet starts talking about, the future and if we're exclusive and he just met you, it's nothing but game. But you having no dating experience wouldn't know that even at 27. But it seemed like, you could have looked at the videos on this channel and learned this. So I'm kind of confused. Was you one of those people that found me through some other link somewhere and you that never actually been on the channel? Because these are the kind of things I talk about all the time. How to recognize the games men play, how to have boundaries, how to carry yourself and conduct yourself like a queen, how to assert your power. And you not doing any of those things. So it leads me to believe that you haven't spent much time here. This channel is like a crash course in relationships and self-esteem building. Every single video has something in it about those two topics, about avoiding getting played and about making sure that you conduct yourself that you respect yourself and that you have firm boundaries in the way that you let people talk to you, treat you, and the stuff that they take from you. You aren't exhibiting any of those things here. So you say you're getting strung along. You're not getting strung along because, a man saying exclusive. But what is he doing that shows exclusivity? He hasn't even taken you on a decent date. You're hanging around, making out in the car and parking lots and shit. Come on. Really? That's your standards for a date? This guy is just a joke. And he's coming on the phone talking about these other women and all this kind of stuff. No, go in your phone and block him. Okay. And if you can't do better about boundaries and understanding the messages that men are sending you, please stay off them apps. That's not for you. You're the kind that needs somebody at your church to hook you up with her grandson or something like that. That's what you need. Because you can't be dealing with these. You can't be dealing with these knuckleheads that's on them apps. You're not swift. You have enough savvy. Question 24. This young lady's 22 to 27. She's Black, no location provided. The male's 20 to 34. So issue, I am ready to break up. Hi, Deb. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend who's 31 for 5 years. I'm 25. We're 7 years apart, but I'm very mature and accomplished. So the age gap has never been an issue. The issue now is that I've changed a lot since I've met him. He hasn't really done anything wrong, and our relationship has always been good. But I'm just ready to break up, and I don't know how to tell him. I don't think it would be a surprise since a couple of months ago I told him I don't want to be his girlfriend forever. He just isn't serious enough about advancing our relationship to me. He's also been having financial and job issues, which has shown me that he isn't as ambitious as I would like. I'm a go-getter. I plan my moves and execute them. He isn't aggressive enough in his planning or actions to change his situation. I didn't really notice this until his money and job problems started a few months ago. As I get older, my time means more to me and I want more for myself. I want to be single, especially in my adult womanhood. I've been with him my entire 20s and I'm tired of wasting my time. I want to break up in a way that isn't harsh because he treats me well. I just feel like I've gotten all I can from this relationship and I'm ready to move on. I also want to give him space to figure out his own situation. I love him and I want to see him do well, but that doesn't mean I should stick around. I feel like I'd be wasting my good years on potential, and he's already in his 30s. What do I say to him? Thanks in advance. Oh, I don't know, dude. So you asking me? I can only tell you what I would say. So, as I think about it, we've been together. Let me just double check because, 5 years. Okay, you're only 25. You've been with him for 5 years. What you're going to do is say, we've been together for 5 years and from my age of 20 to 25. And I think that I've been feeling stifled. You want to make I statements. I've been feeling stifled. I've been feeling like I need to do more. I need to spread my wings. I need to grow more. I need to go back to school. I need to, whatever you want to throw in there, I need to pursue more education, a better job opportunities, which may take me to another state, even another country, whatever you want to say. Whatever. Make up some shit. Don't really matter. But what you want to do is show him that he ain't in the picture. And so you say, so what I'm going to do, if you guys are living together, which you don't really say, I'm going to start looking for a place. And then I'll try to be out by the end of August. And then we'll move on because I think, I feel like we're just stuck. Neither one of us are really progressing the way that I think. I know I'm not progressing the way I think I should. And I'm sure if I'm not progressing, I must be holding you back as well. He's going to say, no, you're not. You're going to say, well, okay, that's good. But I feel like I'm stifling myself. So I'm going to stay with that. So, it's a conversation. You don't have to, accuse, and you don't have to talk about his money problems. You don't have to make him feel bad that he don't measure up and that you're such a go-getter. And you're not going to bring all of that up. You're going to stick to what it is that you want to do for yourself and how you want to be single to do it and have the flexibility to pack up and go wherever you want to on this planet if the opportunity shows up. You want to be able to take it without worrying about who you're leaving behind. And that's how you do that. That's how I would do it anyway. And the final letter of today is question 25. She's in the 28 to 34 age group, African American, from Muskegon, Michigan. And another female, also same age, who's also Black. Summary issue. Deb, do you dislike when a boyfriend is trying to control things? I'll keep this brief. I have a trip planned with a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. Our trip was planned before she got into a recent relationship. One day she called me and told me that her boyfriend is complaining about our cruise for a week, saying that it's too long. I don't normally give my opinion to friends about their relationships, but since this concerned me, I immediately caught an attitude about what he said to her. She seemed annoyed about what he said as well. So I told her that our trip was planned before y'all got together. Who the hell is he to tell somebody anything? We have 2 months left until then. Deb, I really hate when boyfriends try to control everything. Plus, she told me that he wants to move in with her soon, too. Although that's irrelevant, I kind of have a feeling that she might back out. But I'm damn sure not about to beg someone to travel with me. Deb, how would you handle the situation? I would send her a link to the video that I did. I think it's a short about why a woman should never let a man move into her spot, because a man who moves into a woman's spot is a dusty bum. Any man should be able to provide the housing. a woman should move in with him. He's supposed to be the provider. He's supposed to be taking care of shit like that. So when he moves into her spot, that means she's taking care of shit like that. And any man I've ever seen who moved in with a woman, he wasn't a shit. He wasn't shit. They're all bums. They're all bum men. And the women were the ones who was achievers, the go-getters, the ones making shit happen. And the dudes were the bums. So your friend, I would run that by her and say, well, if he moves in with you and you decide you don't want him no more, how you going to get him out? You better have him sign a rental agreement. And what's he going to pay? Have you thought about that? What's his chores and stuff? Just run all the shit by her. You're supposed to be her friend. All the things, all the pros and cons of this guy living with her. And she might decide that, that's not a good idea and she doesn't really want him to. But she's something she should really think about, because once he gets in there, it's always hard to get him out. And then when they start, they want to bring their friends, and it'd be a bunch of people doing stuff to your house and your furniture and eating up your food. And there's nothing you can do about it, keeping up noise and, just crashing there at the weekends and stuff. You'd lose all your privacy. It's just a hot mess. So she better think about it real tight, really closely. That's what I have to say, because I wouldn't let him move in with me. And if some man told me that a week is too long, I'd tell him, well, you better just find something for yourself to do, because I am going. I paid a lot of money for this and I'm going. So I don't know what to tell you. And then that would be the end of that. He wouldn't really have a vote. It's not like it's up for debate. If I'm going to go on my vacation, I already paid all this money for. I'm definitely going. Now, you don't have to like it, but I'm going to still go. And that's what I would tell him. So you know your friend better than me, though. You know how that would, what wording to use and all that kind of stuff. But I think all the things I said are the messages that need to be conveyed to her. She's not thinking clearly. The fact that she would even repeat that to you in that way shows that her boundaries aren't strong. Because what she should have been doing is coming to you saying, girl, this fool that told me he was complaining about the cruise and I cussed his ass out. Told him I'm going and you lucky I don't stay 2 weeks. So you better be happy it's only 1 week or something like that. That's what she should have been telling you, not, like giving it weight. So be careful. But I'm going to tell you, even if you end up going by yourself, she's already paid, so she can't get a refund. Or maybe she get partial refund. But, maybe you can get somebody else to take over her ticket and still go. So you have the double room thing. But you meet so many people on a cruise. The fact that you're on a boat by yourself is no big deal. I've done it. Gone to all kind of other countries and everything by myself. And I always meet people. Just always have a good time. So, it's no biggie. And then but you know who your friends are. If that's what's happened with her, you know to cut her loose and don't depend on her for nothing anymore, because she's the kind of to dump her friends for a man. Not good. All right, so we're done here, ma'am. We're done here. And that's the show for today. It was kind of interesting. We had some really weird letters. But take a look on the community wall if you want to see the information, the article that pertains to one of the letters that we read tonight about the rate of unaliving of women in relationships, because these are real stats from the CDC, and they're national statistics only from the United States, but it's pretty much the same all over the world, and it's something for women to be concerned about. Women chasing wedding rings, better be careful. You'll be chasing a coffin right along with it. Okay. So I'll see y'all later. Food for thought.